Welcome to the Winbert Foundation Digital Inclusion Program. A well-designed resume is more than a record of your qualifications. It is a personal marketing tool that communicates your value to potential employers. In today's competitive job market, alternative resume designs can help candidates present their skills, experience, achievements, and personal brand in ways that are clear, professional, and memorable. This course, Alternative Resume Design, explores creative and modern approaches to resume design while maintaining the professionalism and relevance expected by recruiters and employers. By the end of this course, you will be able to identify different alternative resume formats and design styles and determine when each is appropriate. Design a visually appealing, professional resume that effectively highlights your skills, experience, achievements, and personal brand. Apply best practices for resume layout, formatting, readability, and applicant tracking system (ATS) compatibility when creating an alternative resume. Module 1, How to identify different alternative resume formats and design styles and determine when each is appropriate. A resume is one of the most important tools in a job seeker's career journey because it provides an employer with a first impression of the candidate's professional background, capabilities, achievements, and suitability for a role. While the traditional chronological resume remains widely used, modern recruitment has created a need for alternative resume formats and design styles that can communicate a candidate's value more effectively. Choosing the right format, however, is not simply about making a resume look attractive. The format must match the candidate's experience, career goals, industry, and the expectations of the employer. The chronological resume is one of the most common formats. It presents work experience in reverse chronological order, beginning with the candidate's most recent position and moving backward. This format is particularly appropriate for candidates with a stable employment history and progressive career development. For example, a project manager who has worked as a project coordinator, project manager, and senior project manager over the past 8 years can use a chronological resume to clearly demonstrate career progression. Employers can quickly see where the candidate has worked, what positions were held, and how responsibilities increased over time. A functional resume, sometimes called a skills-based resume, focuses primarily on skills, competencies, and achievements rather than employment history. It can be useful for candidates who are changing careers, returning to work after a significant break, or have limited formal employment experience. For instance, imagine a teacher who wants to move into corporate training. Although the candidate may not have held the job title corporate trainer, they may have substantial experience in presentation, curriculum development, facilitation, communication, and employee development. A functional resume can emphasize these transferable skills before presenting employment history. A combination or hybrid resume brings together the strongest features of chronological and functional formats. It begins with a strong summary of professional skills and achievements, and then provides a detailed employment history in reverse chronological order. This format is particularly useful for experienced professionals who want recruiters to notice both their capabilities and their career progression. For example, an experienced sales manager applying for a business development director position could highlight revenue growth, client acquisition, team leadership, and strategic planning at the beginning of the resume before showing the companies and positions where those achievements were gained. Another alternative is the targeted resume. Rather than using one general resume for every job application, the candidate modifies the resume to match the requirements of a specific position. The candidate studies the job description and emphasizes relevant skills, experience, qualifications, and achievements. Consider a digital marketing professional applying for a social media manager position. Instead of giving equal attention to every aspect of their career, the candidate could emphasize campaign management, content creation, social media analytics, audience growth, and digital advertising because these directly correspond to the advertised position. A creative or visual resume uses design elements such as color, graphics, icons, infographics, timelines, or distinctive layouts to communicate professional information. This format may be appropriate for creative industries such as graphic design, advertising, fashion, photography, animation, or certain media roles. For example, a graphic designer applying to a branding agency may use a visually distinctive resume to demonstrate design ability while presenting qualifications and experience. However, a creative resume should not become so decorative that recruiters struggle to find important information. The design must support communication rather than compete with it. An infographic resume presents information through visual representations such as charts, icons, timelines, percentages, and graphical summaries. It can be particularly effective when a candidate has measurable achievements that can be communicated visually. For example, a sales professional might visually highlight 120% of annual sales target achieved, 35% increase in customer retention, or 50 million in new business generated. However, infographic resumes should be used carefully because some applicant tracking systems, ATS, may have difficulty reading information embedded in graphics. When applying through an online recruitment portal, an ATS-friendly format may therefore be safer. The ATS-friendly resume is designed primarily for compatibility with applicant tracking systems used by many employers to screen applications. It generally uses simple formatting, standard headings, readable fonts, conventional sections, and relevant keywords from the job description. For example, if a vacancy requires project management, Microsoft Excel, stakeholder management, and budget management, a qualified applicant should naturally include those terms where they accurately describe their experience. A beautifully designed resume that an ATS cannot properly read may perform worse than a simple, well-structured resume. The appropriate resume format should therefore be determined by the candidate's situation rather than by personal preference alone. A recent graduate may benefit from a skills-focused or combination resume because they have limited professional experience. A senior executive may prefer a chronological or hybrid format that demonstrates career progression and measurable achievements. A career changer may emphasize transferable skills, while a graphic designer may benefit from a creative design that complements a portfolio. Candidates should also consider the employer, industry, application method, and job description before selecting a design. A creative resume may be appropriate for a design agency but unnecessary for a bank, government institution, law firm, or highly regulated organization. Most importantly, alternative resume design should never sacrifice clarity, accuracy, professionalism, or relevance. The best resume is not necessarily the most colorful or visually impressive one. It is the one that enables the recruiter to quickly understand who the candidate is, what they can offer, and why they are suitable for the position. Module 2, How to Design a Visually Appealing Professional Resume that Effectively Highlights Your Skills, Experience, Achievements, and Personal Brand. A professional resume should do more than list previous jobs and educational qualifications. It should present a clear and compelling picture of who you are, what you can do, what you have achieved, and the value you can bring to an organization. Resume design therefore involves both visual presentation and strategic communication. A good resume should be attractive enough to capture attention while remaining simple enough for a recruiter to understand quickly. The goal is not to make the resume look artistic for its own sake, but to make important information easy to find and memorable. The first step in designing an effective resume is establishing a clear visual structure. Information should be arranged in a logical order with distinct sections such as contact information, professional summary, skills, work experience, education, certifications, and relevant achievements. Consistent headings, spacing, alignment, and font choices create a professional appearance. For example, a candidate applying for a project management position should make it immediately obvious where their project management experience, certifications, technical skills, and major project achievements can be found. Typography also plays an important role in professional resume design. Fonts should be clean, professional, and easy to read. Excessive use of decorative fonts can make a resume appear unprofessional and may reduce readability. A candidate can use one primary font throughout the document and distinguish headings through size, weight, or spacing. Font sizes should also be comfortable to read. The recruiter should not have to strain to read the candidate's information simply because the applicant wanted to fit everything onto one page. A strong resume should also use white space effectively. White space refers to the empty areas between sections, paragraphs, headings, and other elements. It prevents the document from looking overcrowded and allows the reader's eyes to move easily from one section to another. Consider two candidates with identical qualifications. One submits a resume filled with long paragraphs and little spacing, while the other uses short bullet points and clear section divisions. The second resume will usually be easier for a recruiter to scan and understand. Color can be used strategically to create visual interest and reinforce personal branding. However, professional resume design generally requires restraint. One or two complementary colors may be enough to distinguish headings or important elements. A candidate applying for a corporate banking position, for example, may choose a conservative design, while a graphic designer may have greater freedom to use color creatively. The important principle is that color should support professionalism and readability rather than distract from the content. One of the most important aspects of resume design is highlighting achievements rather than merely listing responsibilities. Employers want to know what difference a candidate made in previous roles. Instead of writing, responsible for managing social media accounts, a stronger statement might be, managed social media campaigns that increased audience engagement by 45% within 6 months. The second statement communicates responsibility, action, and measurable impact. Where possible, candidates should use numbers, percentages, financial values, timeframes, or other measurable results to demonstrate their contribution. A professional resume should also communicate the candidate's personal brand. Personal branding refers to the professional identity and value proposition that a candidate consistently communicates. For example, an individual may want to be known as a data analyst who transforms complex data into actionable business insights. Their professional summary, skills, achievements, and experience should reinforce that identity. If the candidate claims to be an innovative data analyst but the resume contains no evidence of data analysis, problem-solving, or business impact, the personal brand will lack credibility. The professional summary is an important opportunity to establish this personal brand. Instead of beginning with a vague statement such as hardworking individual seeking a challenging opportunity, candidates should communicate their professional identity, experience, strengths, and value. For example, results-driven sales professional with 7 years of experience in relationship management, business development, and client acquisition, with a proven record of exceeding revenue targets. This immediately tells the recruiter what the candidate does and what they bring to an organization. Candidates should also use strong action verbs when describing their experience. Words such as led, developed, implemented, increased, negotiated, analyzed, managed, designed, and delivered communicate contribution more effectively than passive expressions. For instance, rather than writing was responsible for training 100 employees, a candidate could write, designed and delivered a training program for 100 employees, improving post-training assessment scores by 30%. This makes the candidate's contribution much more compelling. Finally, every resume should be customized for the specific position. A candidate should review the job description and determine which skills, experiences, and achievements are most relevant. For example, a project manager applying for an IT project management role should give greater prominence to technology projects, agile methodologies, stakeholder management, risk management, and project delivery than unrelated experiences. Customization helps the recruiter quickly connect the candidate's background to the organization's needs. A visually appealing resume is therefore a combination of design, clarity, relevance, evidence, and personal branding. Before submitting it, candidates should proofread carefully for spelling, grammar, formatting inconsistencies, incorrect dates, broken links, and inaccurate information. They should also save the document in an appropriate format, usually PDF unless the employer specifies otherwise. The final question should be, if a recruiter spends only a few seconds scanning this resume, will they immediately understand what I do, what I have achieved, and why I am worth interviewing? If the answer is yes, the resume is performing its primary purpose. Module 3, How to Apply Best Practices for Resume Layout, Formatting, Readability, and Applicant Tracking System, ATS, Compatibility when creating an alternative resume. Creating an alternative resume does not mean abandoning professional standards. A resume can have a modern, creative, or distinctive appearance while still being easy to read, logically organized, and compatible with recruitment technology. The purpose of effective resume formatting is to help both the recruiter and the applicant tracking system, ATS, quickly identify the information that matters. Therefore, candidates must balance creativity with clarity. ensuring that their alternative resume communicates their qualifications without creating unnecessary barriers to evaluation. The layout of a resume determines how information is arranged on the page. A strong layout should guide the recruiter's attention naturally from the candidate's name and professional identity to their summary, skills, experience, achievements, education, and other relevant qualifications. Important information should not be hidden in unusual locations simply to make the resume look different. For example, a candidate applying for a financial analyst position should make their financial analysis experience, technical skills, certifications, and measurable achievements easy to locate. A creative two-column layout may be acceptable if it remains clear and readable, but a complicated arrangement with multiple text boxes can create problems for both humans and ATS software. Consistency in formatting is another essential principle. Headings, font styles, bullet points, dates, spacing, and alignment should follow a consistent pattern throughout the document. If one job title is bold and another is italicized without a clear reason, the resume can appear untidy. Similarly, if some dates are aligned to the right while others appear underneath job titles, the document may look poorly organized. Consistency communicates attention to detail, which is particularly important for positions where accuracy and organization are required. Font selection should prioritize readability and professionalism. Candidates should generally choose simple, widely available fonts and maintain a comfortable font size. Excessively decorative fonts may look attractive in a design portfolio, but can make a traditional professional resume difficult to read. A candidate applying to an advertising agency may have greater freedom with typography, but even creative professionals should ensure that the actual content remains legible. The objective is to make the recruiter focus on the candidate's qualifications rather than struggle to interpret the design. Effective use of white space is equally important. A resume should not be packed with information from edge to edge. Adequate spacing between sections and bullet points improves visual balance and makes important information easier to scan. At the same time, excessive empty space may make a candidate's experience appear incomplete. The goal is balance. For example, a recent graduate with limited experience may comfortably use a one-page resume, while a senior executive with 15 years of relevant experience may require 2 pages to present their career history effectively. Candidates should also use bullet points instead of lengthy paragraphs when describing professional experience. Recruiters frequently scan resumes quickly, so concise statements are easier to absorb. Each bullet should ideally begin with a strong action verb and focus on contribution or results. Instead of writing, "I was responsible for handling customer complaints and helping customers with their problems," a stronger version would be, "Resolved an average of 40 customer complaints weekly while maintaining a 95% customer satisfaction rating." The revised statement is shorter, more specific, and more persuasive. An important consideration when designing an alternative resume is applicant tracking system compatibility. An ATS is software used by employers and recruitment organizations to collect, organize, search, and sometimes rank job applications. It may scan a resume for information such as job titles, skills, qualifications, employment history, and keywords that correspond to the vacancy. Candidates should therefore avoid unnecessary design elements that could interfere with automated reading. One major ATS best practice is the use of standard section headings. Headings such as professional summary, work experience, education, skills, and certifications are generally easier for recruitment systems to recognize than unusual alternatives such as my journey, what I bring, or my story. Creativity can still be expressed through subtle design choices while keeping the structure familiar to recruitment software. Keywords are also important. Candidates should carefully study the job description and identify skills, qualifications, tools, methodologies, and industry terms that accurately match their background. For example, if an employer is looking for a project manager with experience in Agile, risk management, stakeholder management, and Microsoft Project, a qualified applicant should include these terms naturally in relevant sections of the resume. However, candidates should never insert keywords they do not genuinely possess simply to manipulate the screening process. Candidates should also be careful with graphics, icons, charts, photographs, text boxes, headers, footers, and tables. Although these elements can create an attractive visual resume, some ATS platforms may have difficulty interpreting information placed inside them. For example, a candidate might use a graphic showing Excel 90%, Power BI 80%, SQL 75%. A human recruiter may understand it immediately, but an ATS may not interpret those graphical skill levels correctly. A safer approach is to write the skills as text and, where appropriate, provide evidence of proficiency through work achievements. The choice of file format also matters. Candidates should follow the employer's instructions precisely. If a vacancy specifically requests a Word document, the applicant should submit a Word document rather than a PDF. If PDF is accepted, a properly generated text-based PDF can preserve formatting across devices. Before submission, candidates should open the final file on another device to ensure that fonts, spacing, bullet points, hyperlinks, and page breaks appear correctly. Finally, candidates should test and proofread their resume before submitting it. Reading the document aloud or asking another person to review it can reveal unclear statements, spelling errors, inconsistent dates, and formatting problems. Candidates can also copy the text from the final document and paste it into a plain text editor to see whether important information remains accessible. For example, if the candidate's job titles or contact details disappear during this test, the resume may contain formatting that could interfere with automated systems. The most effective alternative resume is therefore one that combines professional design with technical accessibility. Creativity should attract attention, while structure should communicate information. Readability should help the recruiter understand the candidate quickly, and ATS compatibility should ensure that the resume can successfully pass through digital recruitment systems. When these principles are applied together, candidates can create resumes that are distinctive without becoming difficult to evaluate. We have now come to the end of this course. Thank you.